guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have created this graphic black and metallic gold eye makeup look. It was inspired by this beautiful piece of jewellery sent to me by Ana Luisa. This is their Ava set, and I also have the Mecca black and gold ring, which is kind of where I got the inspiration for the eye makeup. So I'll tell you a little bit more about this as I move on to do my base makeup. I have a discount code where you can get $10 off, which I will link in the description bar for you. So if you want to see how I got this look, keep on watching. So for the base, I've got 3 new primers by Beauty Blender. The one I've got on is called the Leveler, which is the pore minimising primer. We've also got Selfie Shield, which is a broad spectrum SPF of 38, and then we have Opalescence, which is a serum primer. The foundation I'm going to use is the Bounce Foundation by Beauty Blender. I've never used this before. I don't even know if this shade is going to be the right one. It's got a little lock button on the back, and then you turn it over and the foundation comes out, and you can just dip your sponge straight onto the palette. I'm also going to use their new Violet Swirl Beauty Blender sponge. The shade I'm using is 2.5, which is a little bit on the yellow side, but that's okay. I can put on a more neutral colour concealer and that will kind of help to counteract the yellowness on the skin. So this is a full coverage with a velvet finish, and it also contains hyaluronic acid for kind of moisture purposes. So it helps to draw moisture to the face when you're wearing it, so it's not drying. It looks really nice. It sits on the skin really lovely. So as I mentioned, today's look is inspired by the jewellery that I'm wearing. This is by Ana Luisa. They contacted me about doing a sponsorship. They use 100% of recycled gold. I don't know if you're aware, but it actually takes 20 tons of earth mining to produce enough gold to create one single gold ring. And that's why brands charge so much. Cheap breakable jewellery is rarely recycled, and it's a huge waste for the environment, whereas the Ana Luisa products come from the same companies as Tiffany's and all the big names, but because it's been recycled, it's much more affordable. It's a great way for them to keep prices as fair and as accessible as possible. Also, each piece of jewellery comes with 1-year warranty, so you have confidence when you're buying. And they come in this really nice little box with a kind of like velvet case, which is really pretty with the name on it. So I've popped on a little black jumpsuit, and then I am going to pair the makeup to go with the gold and black. Okay, so that's one coat of the foundation, and as you can see, it is full coverage, and I've got loads of blemishes going on at the moment. It's done a really good job at covering those. It's really nice, and it definitely has that kind of velvety finish. It's not too shiny, and it isn't too mattifying. So moving on to the eyes, I'm going to take this foiled eyeshadow by Makeup Geek in the colour Magic Act, which is a medium muted gold, and this is just going to add a very subtle shimmer to the eyelid. We don't want anything too intense because we do want to make it more about the eyeliner. Going into another Makeup Geek eyeshadow, this one is called Mocha, and it's a deep matte brown. On an angle brush, we're creating quite a deep V shape, and this is going to contour the eye. Although the lines are going to be quite defined, they will still be softened, and this is just going to add a sort of subtle shadow, making that crease line look as though it's a little bit more extended, which makes the lid look more almond shaped and elongated. So I'm using a very small detailer brush to soften the line because we don't want to blend it out too much. We want it to pretty much stay where it is, but we want to soften it. So there's usually a couple of stages to blend in. I'm using a small brush first, and then I'm going to go in with a small crease brush. This is a bit fluffier, and with a light hand it's just going to help to further blend out those lines, but without taking the colour up too high or out too far. You'll often find that when you're blending out a brown, once you start to blend out the colour, you start to see more of the undertone, but don't worry, the more you layer the colour, the more it's going to look like the colour in the pan. To define the line even further, I'm mixing a very small amount of this matte black, which is called Corrupt, also by Makeup Geek, and I'm mixing that with the brown and then just tracing over where I've applied the colour and then reblending it. When you see the finished eye look, you wouldn't believe that we were using black, but it's all about subtlety. Always be sure to tap off the excess product before you apply it onto your skin. Next, I'm taking the Mayron metallic powder in gold, and in a small dappen dish I'm applying a very small amount of the MAC Fix Plus, but you can use water, and I'm adding the tiniest amount of powder to it, and this creates the most beautiful metallic gold. I actually use this for my Cleopatra look. Now, a lot of gold products won't show up over black, so it is easier to paint the gold first, create a thick enough line that you can then trace around the outer edge with black eyeliner, and then you'll have gold in the centre. This powder is quite intense and probably would paint over the black, but for safety, to make sure that I don't ruin the look and have to start again, I decided I would paint it in gold first, and as you can see, it's incredible. My favourite black eyeliner to use is the Inglot AMC Gel Eyeliner in number 77, and I'm mixing that with a tiny amount of mixing medium called Duraline. This just makes it a little bit more fluid, which makes it easier to work with. I'm using a very tiny paintbrush, and with a steady hand I'm tracing around the outer edge of the gold eyeliner that we've created. My top tip would be to rest your elbow on a table, and then you can just pivot your hand so that you're super steady. If you're going to try and be this precise and float your hand in midair, it's going to be a lot more difficult. So I decided once I'd lined the entire eyeliner that it needed to be thicker and that I didn't want the gold to start right at the very front. So once I got the outline complete, I then started to thicken the inner edges. I also retraced along the bottom line as well and thickened that one too. That took me about 5 minutes to do both eyes. Then I'm using the same product to line across my waterline. Initially this can make your eyes feel a little bit blurry because it does have the waterproofing mixing medium in it, but after a couple of blinks this dissipates. Under my lower lashes I'm taking a small amount of Mocha on that angled liner, and I'm softly smoking out that waterline so it doesn't look so harsh. Off camera I applied a coat of mascara, and then to add some subtle volume I applied some individual lashes, which I have tutorials on and I will link on screen for you. Now I've done the eye makeup, I'm going to move back onto the skin and I'm going to use the Chanel Bronze Universelle, which smells incredible as well. It just has a really beautiful kind of soft tanned appearance to your face. And because we've not set the foundation in place, we can work a cream over the top and it's just not going to affect the base makeup. So I like to use a bit of a stipple motion so that if you're wearing full coverage, you're not going to start shifting your base. I'm also going to take that around the hairline. I'm going to stipple what's left on the bristles over the nose. And if you apply too much, just softly stipple over the top and that will soften everything. I'm going to take a small amount of Benefit Hoola. I'm just going to bronze my neck a little bit. Also going to take a very small amount of that just through the hollows of the cheeks to warm up the face. Nothing too intense. Gives us a really nice healthy appearance like we've just been on holiday. For blush I'm going to use my Milani Luminoso. I haven't used this in ages. I'm going to pop that on the apples of the cheeks. I only want a very natural flush to the cheek. Pop it on and then knock it back a little bit with your sponge. I'm popping Boy Bait by MAC on my lips. Goldie Lips by JLo and Inglot would be a really good one, but the last time I did a black and gold look I used that on my lips. Instead this one's really similar to my actual lip colour but just a bit of gloss, so yeah. I've just decided to pop a little bit of MAC's Water Weight Concealer underneath my eyes to add a little bit of lift. Popping it on with a brush and then just patting it in with my fingers. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed this makeup tutorial. It's a little bit different with the double black winged liner and the gold metallic accent running through, and we've just added that soft contour to the lid just to create a little bit of shape to the eye so it doesn't look like it's just about eyeliner. If you enjoyed the tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you're new to my channel. I upload once on a Sunday and I am trying to upload a second time in the week, but at the moment that's going to be a transitional period. Guys, don't forget to check out the discount code in the description bar for the Ana Luisa jewellery. If you do get some, tag me in a picture because I want to see what pieces you chose. This one was the one I felt like I could take the most inspiration from for makeup. All the products will be listed and linked in the description bar, and I will see you next week. Bye!